Sustainability Suite. And this is a product that we've developed from working with practices on the issue of climate change and the wider sustainability. And what we found is that this is great for our clients. It's great for the businesses that have used the product. And of course, it's great for the planet. And we've coined the phrase sustainability sorted because it's a way of addressing the issues and converting our businesses. So users, accountants and bookkeepers, and we found that you don't need any particular debit and credit skills in this, which is great if you're struggling with debits and credits, because you don't even have to be an accountant. And we have other firms that are using the suite where you don't need to be an accountant. We built the model based on my colleague who had just come straight out of university, early 20s, no business experience, but he was passionate about climate change. And so him being able to use this and talk to people who've been in business a long time, perhaps somebody my age, was the intended marketplace. So Alex, who's here today, has done that, and he now has regular conversations with our clients. And I think there's a big difference that when you start talking business strategy, and as you go round here today, I think a lot of the speakers will talk to you about being a consultant rather than doing compliance work. And it's difficult if you've never been trained in consultancy because you don't know where to start. And let's face it, institutes don't tend to tell you much about being a consultant. You have to learn it for yourself. So Alex will talk to our clients, nice and easy lead in on the subject of consultancy, and then he will throw in the big question, what is your business strategy? And at that point, most of our SMEs will turn around and say, actually, I don't really have one. I just turn up and I do what I do. But they get excited then as they start to talk strategy. They've not been embarrassed by it. And what we find is they keep asking us to come back and do more in the consulting world. So that's the target for the people that are using it. Is it good for our clients? Well, there's every chance that in the next 3 years, if you don't factor in climate change and if you don't factor in AI, that your business strategy isn't going to work very well. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's an off button for climate change. And I think even if there was, a lot of us have now developed the attitude that we need to do more. We need to do more for each other and we need to do more for the planet. So, is this good for businesses? Yes, I believe so. We have three categories ourselves, three categories of business. The first is born green, then we have the going green, and then we have the going bust. So we have found that since we've worked with businesses who have adopted, and our first business that did this was the Green Accountant, that they gained new clients simply by putting that word green in their business title. And they were coming from all over the UK. And that's great, because you get known for being a green business and supporting green activities. But the biggest challenge that we face are the vast majority of almost 6 million SMEs in the UK who want to be more sustainable, but they just don't know where to start. And if you Google it, it can be overwhelming. You don't know where to go first. So this is now about helping those businesses by making the business case. So instead of having a carbon consultant tell you that you should go greener and come up with a list of things that you might do, so changing the light bulbs is always my favorite example. So you change the light bulbs and then what? But that's only if you can afford it. So when we make the business case, what we will say is things like, okay, what does it cost you if you lose a client, or if you were to gain a client in the world of accountancy? What do you win if somebody comes to you because you now have that green perspective? So if an average client has fees of £3,000 a year and they're going to stay with you for 10 years, I'll test my maths now and say that that's worth £30,000. And that's simply attracting businesses that come to you because of what you're looking to do. We developed this system, and I'm guessing that it'd be really difficult for everybody to read, but it works on the acronym SORTED, so that there is a journey, and at each step of the way, we have an interaction with the client. And at the bottom, you can see that there are benefits to accountants. I wouldn't plug this as much as I was in a business environment, but it's the fact that you can charge fees along the way. And that's been the experience of our users. And it's fees for consultancy work. And the further the journey goes, so as we get into this evaluation, we're looking at the metrics. They're not the financial metrics that we're used to working with. Perhaps an easy example is as simple as how many trees have you planted with your donations. But what we do find is that when we have clients interested in developing business, and it's the non-financial stuff, they also then get into the financial numbers. And can you imagine what it's like when you get a client who's actually interested in a profit and loss and a balance sheet? Doesn't happen all that often around the year-end meetings, but in this case, our clients who are using it have found that that's the case, that they're now interested in building the business. And so they get drawn into, or you get drawn into supporting them on their journey. But we start with a strategic overview. And what we'll do for that is we will look at their competition and see what sustainability activities their competition is undertaking. And typically, we find that it's very little. We do a lot of surveying of accountancy practices, and we use AI, and we score businesses out of 10, or the AI does. And if we've got 5 accountants in an area, so we plug in the town, we get the numbers back, and quite often it's 0, that accountants are not mentioning sustainability. But how can you be a business advisor, how can you talk strategy if you haven't mentioned this thing called climate change that's going on? So that's where we start, is we look at what the competition is doing, and it's very little. And then we talk to clients about the opportunities that that provides. And that's to differentiate yourselves from your local competition. If anybody's ever been on a marketing course and you get asked, what's your USP? When I was a young fella, we used to have to look that up because nobody understood USP in the early days. But now we do have a unique selling point that allows you to differentiate yourselves from your local competitors. And if you become known as the firm locally that is dealing with climate change issues and is supportive of clients who are looking at their strategy for the next 3 years, then it just builds up. Because as I say, there's no off button for this. So you get known as the firm to go to in the town. So that's where we start. Then we look at the opportunities, and then we develop a roadmap. And that includes what the business has done so far, but it also includes a target date for net zero. And I know not everybody will understand all of these things, but they're becoming more prevalent in the English language in everyday conversations in business. My friends down here are just saying you've got a lot of your clients who are now starting to ask you about climate change. So we do the roadmap, we do the targets, we do the evaluation. The first business we worked with started requesting weekly meetings. And over a 2-month period, we were having weekly meetings that were about 2 hours long, and they were quite happy to pay the fees. And the most important thing for me is then the disclosure. And what I mean by that is telling the story. Because if you're the green version of your business, then it's really important that you use that as part of your marketing. So the teams that we're working with, for example, now have engaged a videographer to come and record their stories. And their websites are changing. So we get drawn into website reviews to make sure that we tell the story. So that, as you can see, is the story. We have the software, it's very easy to use, and the clients get hooked and now feel that they've got a way of dealing with climate change and improving their businesses. We're on 785, just around the corner. It'd be great to book in a demonstration at some time. And it's nice that you all came and supported us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mick from Sustainability Suite. Okay.